Hi guys, I have good news for you. Today we are traveling to Sydney, Australia. Sadly, you're only virtually. I've been there and I'm going to share my adventures with you in this two-part travel guide series. I discovered the whole country in 3 weeks. I was surfing in Sydney, diving at the Great Barrier Reef and camping in the uninhabited middle of the continent. Wanna hear more? Then stay with me. I wanted to go to Australia since I was probably 10 years old. I gave this trip to myself for my 30th birthday, but after some extensive planning and research. Even though I had a tight budget and time frame, I wanted to squeeze the most into it. In this video, I'm going to share 15 plus 2 things which you should do when you are Sydney. And in the next one, I will share my adventures about Queensland, the Great Barrier Reef and the Uluru. You can also download my travel guide from the description below.
Yeah. All I want is an adventure, pull the dreams to my head, 'cause I'm tired of pretending, give me something I won't forget. All I want is an adventure, pull the dreams to my head, 'cause I'm tired of pretending, give me something I won't forget. Give me something I won't forget. Give me something I won't forget. All I want is an adventure, give me something I won't forget. Give me something, give me something, give me something I won't forget. All I want is an adventure.
So after months of planning, the day has finally come. I packed my stuff and started my trip completely alone with a backpack to explore the other half of the world like Marco Polo and Christopher Columbus did. By the way, in 1606, the Dutch Willem Jansson was the first European to discover the continent and named it New Holland. Then, a little later, in 1770, James Cook took the coastline to British rule, which he named New South Wales. In 1787, the first fleet of English prisoners left to Australia to found an exile colony as the newly independent United States refused to accept further convicts and there was not enough room in the English prisons. The country is still strongly attached to the United Kingdom. Australia is part of the monarchy and Queen Elizabeth II is their queen, whose portrait is also on the Australian dollar. The country is the 6th largest in the world, so if you want to discover it, you will need a few months of holiday and also a car. As I said, I planned my trip for several months, trying to fit as many adventures and programs into the 20 days as I could. Australia and its associated islands are divided into 6 major areas by 3 time zones. There are countless things to do, but what are worth seeing? Although Canberra is the capital of the country, most tourists do not arrive here, but to New South Wales and the country's largest city, Sydney, just like James Cook did. Melbourne was selected as the most livable city in the world for 4 years, and it is located in Victoria, which got its name after Queen Victoria. If you can, rent a car and drive along the Great Ocean Road. Also named after the English queens, Queensland is perhaps the most visited destination in the country because of the Great Barrier Reef, the Daintree Rainforest, the Gold Coast, the Whitsunday Islands and Brisbane. The Northern Territory is almost uninhabited. Its most famous attraction is the giant rock called Uluru, located almost in the middle of the continent. As we travel west from the well-known destinations, we will see less and less tourists. South Australia, mostly famous for its wine region, and only the rare adventurers go to Western Australia, which occupies 1/3 of the country, and Tasmania, which also belongs to Australia. I ended up choosing 3 main destinations, which are completely different from each other. The vibrant city of Sydney, the Great Barrier Reef and the rainforest, and I spent one night camping near the Uluru. But what to pack for such a long journey? If you are interested in what are the 10 things that you should definitely pack, you should watch my video. Once I had the plan, I booked my flight tickets. I choose Emirates Airlines because I wanted to get there as quickly as possible with just one transfer. I made the 15,000 kilometers trip through Dubai to Sydney in about 24 hours. I think Sydney is a beautiful city with lots of attractions and activities. I've just collected 15 plus 2 that I think worth visiting. If you do not have much time in the city, you can also explore the main attractions in just 2 days. The most famous Australian building, hands down, is the Sydney Opera House, which was built in difficult circumstances. The roof structure, reminiscent of a sail or a shell, is covered with more than 1 million white tiles, which is why it is sparkles in the sunlight. Join to a 1-hour organized tour and look around inside too. However, if you want to take this iconic picture, head to the Royal Botanic Gardens next to the theatre, where you will find Mrs. Macquarie's chair. From here, you will have a magnificent view of the city, known from postcards, and you will see the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge behind it. On the other side of the Opera House, you will find the Rocks, which still retains the atmosphere of the colonial period to this day. The buildings built in the 18th century are full of restaurants, making it a perfect place to have lunch or dinner. The famous Harbour Bridge is just a couple of steps from here, and for about $200 you can also climb onto it. I wanted to spend my money on much more exciting things, so I skipped this. But if you want to see the city from above, consider visiting the Sydney Tower Eye. Anyway, it's worth walking across the bridge, as you can see the iconic Opera House from another angle. If you need a little adrenaline, you can find the Luna Park at the other foot of the bridge in the Kirribilli district. And if you are already here, I hope you have your swimsuit with you. Within a 40 minutes walk from here, you will find a tiny 33-meter seawater pool which offers breathtaking views of the harbour. The public transport within the city is very good. With a prepared card like this, you can use the metro and the buses, but you will find the most amazing view of the bays and the city from the ferries. In many cases, you will reach your destination much more faster on ferries than on land. Taronga Zoo is Australia's largest and I think most amazing zoo, as animals that live here can enjoy the magnificent view of the Sydney Bay every single day. In addition to elephants, giraffes and tigers, you can also see native Australian animals like kangaroo, Tasmanian devil and platypus. But I'm so sorry to say, but do not expect to be able to handle a colon in your hands. Unfortunately, that's not possible in New South Wales. But watch my other video and I will tell you how I did it. You can't talk about Sydney without mentioning the iconic Bondi Beach. Check out the gallery of pictures painted on the wall of the boardwalk and take some photos. There are a number of seaport pools along Sydney's coastline. One of the most iconic is Iceberg, located at one end of Bondi Beach. For about $9 you can also splash into it. If you are relaxed enough, stroll through the cliffs from Bondi Beach to Coogee Beach and enjoy the breathtaking view during the 6-kilometer walk. Another famous beach in Sydney is Manly Beach, which is a surfer's paradise. That's not a surprise, because the world's first surfing championship was held here in 1964. If you are in Australia, you should also give it a try. I recommend you to book your surfing lesson in advance online. I tried to learn with the help of Mojo Surf Team, with minimal success. Located in Sydney's business district, Darling Harbour is home of many number of attractions. Among the huge skyscrapers hides the Chinese Garden of Friendship. The tiny park in Chinatown was donated by China to Sydney in 1988. It was designed after the gardens of the Ming Dynasty. If you can't go to the Great Barrier Reef, you must visit the Sea Life Sydney Aquarium. You can take a closer look at sharks, octopuses and hundreds of different fish species. But you can even meet with penguins. The last of the 15 attractions is the Wildlife Sydney Zoo, next to the aquarium, which I only recommend only if you couldn't go to Taronga Zoo. If you have a few more days, You can also look around Sydney. I went on a day trip to the Featherdale Wildlife Park, where I could finally see wombats and quokka as well. And then we went hiking in the Blue Mountains. Did I pique your interest? Before you travel, there are two things that you need to know. Since Australia is in the southern hemisphere, the seasons are different there. The summer is between November and April, and due to its size, the weather also could depend where you want to go. In Sydney, for example, the average temperature in January in summer is 22 Celsius, and in July in winter it's around 12. Not to mention that the northern part of the country is covered in rainforest and has a tropical climate. I was there in autumn, late April and early May, which turned out to be just right. You will need a visa, whether you just want to go on a vacation, study or work. The easiest way is to visit the Australian Immigration Office's website, fill in a short survey and you will find out exactly what kind of visa do you need. I traveled for 3 weeks, so I got my e-visitor visa in just one day, and it was free. This was my first video. I hope you find it useful. If so, hit the like button and the subscribe button. If you are interested in my adventures at the Great Barrier Reef and the Uluru, watch my next video, because the discovery of the real Australia starts if you leave the city.